Greetings to baristas. So, Occupy Wall Street has morphed nationwide, even worldwide, so that we can justly call it Occupation America. Even in Chicago, vampires on the prowl flock together to fight the real bloodsuckers at the Board of Trade. Those of us who believe in justice, decency, fairness, equity, democracy, despite our other political, religious, or philosophical differences, can only applaud the growth of this movement. Democracy has been reinvigorated, even rediscovered, right in the belly of the post-9/11 national security state, right in the heart of the whore, the big brother surveillance empire of the New York City Police Department. And of course the media doesn't know how to handle it. There's no official movement press corps to parrot, which is the media's only practical use in politics. There's no corporate connection to phone up and get the official opinion, other than we hate it, stop giving it attention. On top of that, to a good extent, it's a protest against money in politics, which is, of course, what the owners of the corporate media outlets depend on for survival and profit ratios. But, despite the gross assault on our rights and our livelihoods, the spirit of liberty and justice for all has not gone into receivership. And while I have criticized the movement for not promoting more concrete demands, this can also be a source of strength in not binding the movement into a set agenda that negotiators can meet and thereby bottle it and tie it down. But just as important as any list of demands or formal agenda is the hope and connectedness this movement has brought to progressives and ordinary decent citizens. We've long been alienated from a system that has robbed us and pushed us aside like we're nothing. We haven't known what to do about it. We hoped the election of 2008 would turn things in a new direction, but it didn't. We didn't yet then realize, many of us anyway, that the system is broken. Not as in an accident, Mikey drops the cookie jar and hides from Mommy, hoping to blame the cat. I mean broken as a verb, as a conscious act of sabotage. The system, the part of it that used to semi-function for you and me, was deliberately mutilated, not by a careless child, but by conscious adult evildoers who meant to do us injury, who meant to cause us suffering, who enjoy our pain, revel in our loss, and profit from our anguish. More important than any program is the hope that has been reborn outside the corrupted machinery of the official democratic process. The connectedness that, like suffering people, have developed, the real community that is evolving as citizens, real citizens united, not corporate fronts, step out of their techno-shells and re-encounter their common humanity. Some of us aren't fortunate enough to live in a place where such connections easily happen. In my particular location, a potential movement is too fragmented by lack of a popular base in unions, public employees, students, and by race. We can only watch and envy your participation from afar. But as we observe, we can also analyze. And we can offer predictions of the American future based on present trends. First, we see the repression unleashed against the Portland occupiers and now the Oakland movement the beginning of a counterwave. They can't deal with you any more than China could deal with the Tiananmen Square protests. So they have to send in the troops to crush it. No live ammo yet. But this proves that, A, we live in a country that at its core is no more democratic, where it counts, than so-called People's China, and B, that you've made headway because they're scared. As I said once before, only their fear is the sure sign that you actually threaten the powerful, and this repression by their tool, the police, merely shows their fear. Remember that those police serve only those who pay them, and that sure isn't you, or they wouldn't be busting your heads. And my prediction is this. If the current capitalist fallout continues through another presidential term, no matter who is elected in 2012, you can kiss the American system as you've known it goodbye. Not only will the economy be gone, but the whole rotten pile of shit, state, will implode from its own festation. And if it does, it will deserve it. I say this knowing that it's folks like you and moi who will be buried at the bottom of it. Even the FBI and Homeland Security wonks watching this video, who think they're on the right side of Big Brother and the safe side of the taser, will in the end gag and puke as their lungs slowly suffocate on the shit they've helped dish out. This prelude is exactly what happened in Argentina in the 2000s. For that matter, what happened in Russia in 1917. The Occupy movements resemble nothing so much as Soviets, which originated precisely as this kind of mass horizontal mobilization in the streets. I surely hope it can be resolved without severe social violence, but the possibility is there if it continues to fester. How to avoid it? By recognizing that capital is shit. Think of society as one big farm. If you pile all your fertilizer in one location, the rest of your land withers and goes to seed, while the corner with all the nutrients turns into a compost heap, rots the ground underneath, and the entire farm becomes a wasteland. The shit, that is capital, needs to be equitably redistributed so that you have a self-sustaining enterprise that can feed you as it should. Those who insist on keeping the shit all to themselves will only drown in it, even as they laugh at your hunger. What Wall Street has done is put you, the average consumer, into so much debt that you can no longer afford not only new loans, but to pay on those you have. Without new loans, without the ability to service existing debt, the system implodes, or more accurately, chokes on its own shit, which it can no longer flush properly. Thus, when we call you Wall Street sons of bitches shit-eaters, we're not just speaking metaphorically. And gobbling up all the goodies and turning them into shit, your own system is dying in its own toxic wastes. This would be good, you certainly deserve it, because you are trying to kill us. Saving you might be acceptable, if by doing so we could be saved, but that is not what your President Obama is doing. He's saving you by sacrificing us. In the process, he is sacrificing the United States. He's saving your clogged drains in the short run by flushing us. The flusher's been pushed and we're headed right down the crap drain. Right now we're still circulating around the bowl inside the perimeter. But that drain hole is looming, Mr. and Miss America, and all the ships gurgling at sea, coming closer and closer. If it continues for the next 4 years, we'll be deep into that dark tunnel with no end in sight, with the real assholes still seated in power above on their crapbull economic system, still constipated, still... Can knock on the phone. Let's see who this is today. Hello? Former President of the US&A, Herbert Hoover? Funny, you should be calling now, but I'd expect you to be on this line. What's that? You want President Obama to know that he has one chance left to avoid your fate? If he doesn't take it, his name will go down alongside yours as the political curse word of the new century? I hear you. But my real worry is, what if he doesn't? What if, unlike the rhetoric, it doesn't get better? And we're trapped in a perpetual economic 7th grade engendered by fiscal adolescence. Someone will come along that hurting, anxious people will heed. Will it be a Roosevelt, born of the occupation movement, or a Hitler, bastard born of the teabaggers? Only you can decide. Make democracy work for you, folks.